Phantom, how's it going? Today we're going to be looking at Dark Knight, a true Batman story written by Paul Dini and Eduardo Risso. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, this is probably going to be my pick of the year for the best graphic novel I've read. Yes, I know it's June, but it is really that great. Dark Knight, a true Batman story centers around writer Paul Dini. Now, Paul Dini is a guy that you should probably know if you grew up in the 90s because he had a huge hand in your childhood, whether you realize it or not. Because he was one of the storyboard artists and lead creators of Batman the Animated Series and Tiny Toon Adventures and the movie Mask of the Phantasm and Batman Beyond. Basically, if you were a nerd and you grew up in the 90s and you loved Warner Brothers animation, this guy did it. Unfortunately, one night in the early 1990s, when Paul was coming home from a date that went horribly wrong, it really did blow up in his face, and when you see it, you're just gonna, ooh, sorry, man. Paul was assaulted by these two gang members, and he was pretty much left for dead. Now, Paul was just beaten to a bloody pulp, his face was shattered, and it really depicts Paul's rise and fall, because Paul was really at the top of the game of animation at the time, and this was a low point after he was assaulted. At this point, you're probably wondering, hardcover, what the hell does this have to do with Batman? I'm getting to it. Paul then goes through this arduous recovery process that involves him falling flat on his face in more ways than one in a lot of contexts, and drinking and falling into a deep depression spell. And what's interesting about this is that Paul also has to go back and repair his psyche and regain his confidence. This is where the Batman aspect comes in, because as he's doing all this, Paul is imagining all the villains of Batman's universe telling him, oh, you can't do this, you're just gonna fail again, you're gonna be nothing, you know, what if they come back? It's a really interesting concept and a really interesting way of telling this man's recovery from such a tragic event. What it ultimately leads to is Paul Dini discovering himself all over again and getting a newfound confidence through the character of Batman, because throughout the story you hear Paul going, no, I don't want to write Batman stories anymore. There's no such thing as really good heroes anymore. The world doesn't have a Batman. And eventually he finds that through the character of Batman and through the strength and the lessons that he learned of the character as a child, he can recover from what happened. He can go through the trial that he just went through and any trial that's in front of him, and he can get through the alcoholism, the depression, and things like that. And he is able to succeed in life and conquer his greatest fears. The art on this book is absolutely fantastic. Eduardo Risso is an artist that is known most notably for working with Frank Miller on the Dark Knight 3 Master Race. He's also done projects on 100 Bullets. I did not care for the man's art on 100 Bullets, but I will say this, it's fantastic here. I mean, he is at the top of his game, and you could clearly tell this was a love letter. It's beautiful stuff. And the way he lays out panels is the same way that a storyboard artist would lay out, where he's got a little panel here, he's got a little panel here, he's got a little panel here. There's really not that many, you know, two-page splashes or anything like that. It's just little stuff, but it's subtle and it works so beautifully well. I just cannot get over how well this stuff is. And the styles. He really just gets to flex his muscles in this book. It is fantastic, because you'll see kind of like a little sketchy style at the top of the page and another little sketchy style, and at the bottom it'll be kind of this painted watercolor digital style at the bottom of it, and then you just turn the page and it's something completely different depending on the mood or depending on the character that he has to draw. It's fantastic and it's amazing. I absolutely cannot praise the art on this book enough. It's really going to be at the top of my picks at the end of the year. The only complaint that I really have with this book is that there are no special features in it. I would have loved to have seen some sketches, some artwork, anything like that in the back. Unfortunately, nothing to it. It's kind of a bare bones package. However, when you get something as nice and beautifully put together as this, and when you get something that is moving and the art is just so on point, it's kind of a small complaint in the grand scheme of things. I'm going to make a bold statement right now and say that The Dark Knight, a true Batman story, is the best graphic novel I've read all year. Hands down, the best thing I've read all year, and it's going to take something really great in order to knock it from my top spot. This is going at the top of my list at the end of the year, and you owe it to yourself to pick this up. Beautifully drawn, beautifully written, and inspiring all at the same time. I absolutely 110% give this my full rating endorsement, and I give it a buy. Go buy this. Go pick this up and support this, because you do not always get great storytelling like this. just know when you do go buy this, you're not going to get Batman in every single panel. This isn't a Batman story. I saw a lot of people confused about this. It's not a Batman story, even though Batman is in it and Batman is a center and a focal point in it. But it's more of a story about how Batman inspires this one man to come out of the depths of hell and his own personal desperation and to rise above it and to become something even better than what he was before. If this is your first time checking out my channel, I would love to hear back from you. Comment below. I'm going to ask you guys a question, and I want to know sincerely, what is the one superhero character that no matter how low you are, no matter how bad you are, you just cling on to and go, this character means this much to me, and I'm going to take these ideals and I'm going to place them in my life. I know I have one. I'm sure a lot of you guys do. I love hearing back from you. Comment below down there. Let me hear back from you. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and if you do feel so inclined, I would really appreciate it if you could donate to my PayPal account. That's going to be in the description below. It does take time and it does take money to do these videos and to get these books. I really, really appreciate it. I know I've seen a lot of you guys have already done that. Thank you so much for those of you that have. It's really awesome, the support and the fan outcry that I've gotten so far. I'm going to get back to the Q&A videos. I promise I will. I'm going to get back to it sometime this weekend. I've gotten a lot more questions than I thought I would. Thank you so much, guys. I love hearing back from you.